everyone, I'm Eric Bolling. Welcome to Cashing In. Our Cashing In crew this week: Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Michelle Fields, and Jessica Ehrlich. Welcome, everybody. Come and go as you please. You just heard the White House and its nonchalant attitude towards Americans who go overseas to train with terrorists, and they're allowed to come back. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? Well, now, thankfully, there are growing calls in the U.S. to revoke the citizenship of anyone who does this. Michelle, we saw it happen in France. Why take a chance here?
I have no idea. Look, if there is proof that someone has gone and joined ISIS, not only should we revoke their citizenship, we should revoke their right to live. These are people who are going and joining an organization that wants to destroy our country and kill innocent Americans. This is a serious issue. As many as 40 people from Minneapolis alone have gone to join ISIS. If you go and you join our enemy, well, you've basically renounced your citizenship.
John, you agree with this one, right? Now, we also need to point out that the law right now says because ISIS or Al-Qaeda is not a foreign state, they don't have statehood. Had they been a foreign state, then you could go ahead and arrest them and pull their citizenship on these kids who tried this. But since they're not...
Well, Eric, you know, you're getting caught up in the technicalities. Right, I mean, imagine if it was 1940 and Americans went to Germany to meet with the Nazis, you know. Oh, no, they weren't the extreme Nazis. It's not like they met with Himmler or anything. I mean, come on. Michelle's absolutely right. Citizens who support the enemy have no rights. If you help, support, finance, you know, jihad in any way, you are the enemy and I think need to be destroyed. But the truth is, it's all a red herring. Homeland Security won't keep us safe. It just costs a lot of money, not only in lost business in terms of potential terrorist acts that could happen here, but how about all the money that's spent trying to track down these lone wolves? Why not go after the mother sheep, jihad in the Middle East? One of the most annoying parts of this whole debate that's gone on, Jessica, this whole week was the response from the State Department. Marie Harf had a very nonchalant, like, yeah, okay, so they can come back, instead of saying, yes, this is a problem, we're addressing the problem, and we're trying to fix the problem.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. There is a technicality in the language here that needs to be addressed, and they need to get on that. I mean, we see this all the time in bureaucracies, unfortunately. But it is, you know, an important thing, and when you're at the State Department, there is a huge difference there. But, you know, I think let's address it and move on, and also look at the ways, I mean, when we talk about this homegrown terrorism, there's so many different things that these people are also being trained on the internet. I mean, we need to be able to say, okay, there's 40 of them. Yeah, let's get on this and make sure that these people aren't coming back and forth. Unless, of course, they're being watched, as Jonathan sort of just said, and, you know, the same way that our agencies have gone after gangsters and the mob and things like that, they also use this, I mean, all of our intelligence agencies to go after the big guys, find out who these guys are meeting with, if they can, when they're in Yemen or wherever it is they're going.
That's great. We're not sure.
If that's what they're doing.
Some,
right. We know who the big guys are.
Well, hold on, Wayne. There's some 2,000 or 3,000 Westerners that are right now in the fight, have gone over and become jihadists. We have to be very, very careful who we let come back here. I mean, we can't even track a gun sale going across the border in Fast and Furious. How are we going to track hundreds of jihadis?
Well, it's not just the terrorists that we know about. It's the terrorists that we don't know about. By the way, our southern border is just a sieve. We're letting in thousands of people down there. The president is saying we're not going to export these people back. We don't know who these people are. We have no idea whether they're what their origin is or anything. So. We've got to close down the borders. We've got to stop.
Well,
we've got to revoke the passports, and you have to identify these people and keep them out.
Go ahead, John.
Well, Eric, I mean, it's this whole idea of, do you win a war by targeting individual people? No, you do it by destroying the enemy, destroying their spirit, their interest to live. I mean, Wayne, you know, trap the southern border, they'll come in through the northern border. We could end the threat of militant Islam in 3 weeks. But it starts doing, but at least what France has done is name the enemy. Maybe we should declare war on the enemy. That's how you win a war, not, you know, on an individual basis.
You do not do it by declaring war. You don't do it by declaring war. That's just words. You got to do something, and it's not just the southern border. It's the southern border. It's the northern border. It's all the borders.
You're probably agreeing
on this.
Just
as long as we don't name the enemy, we'll be fine.
Hold on. Michelle, is there a disconnect? Something that John's alluding to. Forget naming the enemy. I get that. I understand we need to point the target. We have to put the target on the enemy. But is there a disconnect the way the Obama administration is treating terrorism and jihadis and homegrown terrorists with what the American people are thinking? Before you answer that, I want to show a poll that just came out late this week, Pew poll, that says 76% of Americans feel that it's the most important. Terrorism is the most important thing going on, and that exceeds the economy. Did I say that right, guys? I hope I said that right. But in other words, terrorism has, for the first time in a long time, become more important on the American people's minds than the economy.
Yeah, well, people are living in fear right now, and they realize that we have a president who doesn't treat the issue as importantly and isn't really thinking of it as a big issue. If this was a big issue for him, he would have sent someone. He would have gone to France. He didn't even care. That shows what his priorities are. It's not a big issue, and this is a huge issue. It's also a huge issue in terms of our allies. If someone has a passport and is a citizen and is traveling to our allied countries and do something bad, that affects us, and it affects the stability of the world.
Go ahead, Jess. You want to comment on that? That now, for the first time, what are we doing wrong in this country where, for the first time in a long time, terrorism is the #1 thing on people's minds?
I mean, I don't think we're doing anything wrong. I think people are waking up and really becoming aware more deeply, and again, of the ongoing situation we've had since September 11th of 2001. I mean, this has not gone away. We fought a war over there. We've tried to bring our troops back. But we are still dealing with an issue now.
But the difference is we had a president at that time who took this seriously.
I would tend to agree with Michelle there.
But this poll is not about whether people.
If you had an administration that sounded like they were tough on terror. Remember, they didn't want to say we've won the war on terror. They don't want to say. They don't want to mention.
But the president didn't have any control over what happened.
Let me just correct one thing that Jessica said.
To wrap it up.
It's not waking up to something since 2001. It's really waking up to something since 1979. That is a threat of militant Islam. And Jessica, I see people waking up on Twitter. I see them waking up on Facebook. I don't see them waking up in the White House. And that's government's job. Keep us safe. And the fact that the poll represents that people aren't keeping us safe.
Nonchalant, aloof attitude that is absolutely dangerous to Americans. We're going to have to leave it right there.